From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. Prime Minister Mark Carney will unveil his new cabinet at a swearing-in ceremony at Rideau Hall next Tuesday. After winning the Liberal leadership back in March, Carney swiftly named 23 MPs to his cabinet, smaller than former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's last team, but with many of the same faces. Marcy Serks of the government relations firm Compass Rose Group says Carney has some tough decisions ahead. She says with so many valuable veterans available, how do you signal change while also trimming the cabinet size? It has now been 2 years since the pandemic officially ended, and the federal government is still sorting out what to do with the 4 tailor-made portable hospitals that it bought.
Ottawa has paid out more than $200 million for the 4 mobile health units it rush ordered during the pandemic, and now the government says it's busy trying to sell or even donate them. They were each designed to backstop hospitals from overflowing as COVID-19 surges heaped pressure on provincial healthcare systems. But even though 2 of them were deployed in Ontario, they mostly went unused and have been sitting in storage ever since, collecting dust and costing millions. Internal government documents forecast storing them this year to be worth $7 million. Kyle Duggan, The Canadian Press, Ottawa.
New numbers crunched by Elections Nova Scotia show that last fall's provincial vote saw turnout reach a historic low. A closer look suggests that the growing downward trend was led by Nova Scotia's youngest group of voters. Only 16.6% of voters between the ages of 18 and 24 cast a ballot, while just 23.8% of those between 25 and 34 voted. The highest turnout was among voters 75 and older at 66.6%. Overseas now, where the leaders of 4 European countries arrived in Kyiv this morning in a joint show of support as calls intensify for Russia to agree to a month-long ceasefire in the war. The heads of France, Germany, Poland, and the UK arrived together at the train station and then met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the capital's Independence Square. The visit marked the first time the leaders of the 4 countries have traveled together to Ukraine, while Friedrich Merz is making his first visit to Ukraine as Germany's new chancellor. And finally, he's a big White Sox fan and loves Chicago. That's what friends say about the first American pope who grew up in Dalton, Illinois, just across the line from Chicago's South Side. Father Paul Galetto is the pastor at St. Paul Church in South Philadelphia. He studied in Rome with Pope Leo decades after they first met.
Sure, he puts mustard on his hot dog because that's what you do on the south side of Chicago, plus put a couple other things on it. He loves Chicago and loves the culture of Chicago, and he will be one of the great citizens of that city.
The White Sox organization says it sent a jersey and a hat to the Vatican after the announcement. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Brad Marchand scored on a deflected shot at 15 minutes and 27 seconds of overtime as the Florida Panthers beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 5-4, cutting their deficit in the Eastern Conference semifinal series to 2-1. Game 4 will be in Sunrise on Sunday night. Meanwhile, the Winnipeg Jets have clawed their way back to even in their Western Conference semifinal series at a game apiece after posting a 4-0 victory over the Dallas Stars. In PWHL playoff action, Lee Stecklein had 2 goals and an assist, and Sophie Jake scored the winner to help the Minnesota Frost defeat the Toronto Scepters 5-3. The best-of-5 first-round playoff series is now tied at 1 game apiece. On the diamond, the Toronto Blue Jays open up their 3-game set in Seattle against the Mariners with a 6-3 win. And finally, Mackenzie Hughes of Dundas, Ontario, shot a 2 under 69 in windy conditions for a share of the second-round lead at the Myrtle Beach Classic, tied with Cristobal del Solar of Chile. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.